Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Shabbat Shalom, B'nai Mitzvah plus Haley over there. Bless you. Okay, guys, we are going to begin on page 10. Shabbat Shalom, Pat and Maria. Thank you, Alex. And I see you have a smaller helper, Ezra, tonight. Shari is on her Shabbat off, so thank you, Lior, for representing our senior staff. And we will begin on page 10 with the singing of Hine Matov. Hi, Tanta.
Hine ma tovu manayim Shevet achim gam yachad 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 Hine ma tovu manayim Shevet achim gam yachad.
So Brian Leslie isn't on yet, but these flowers are a combo meal of two of my favorites. We have sunflowers and what are the big ones called? Not begonias. No.
I'm thinking that, yeah.
What are they called?
I wish I could remember.
Lior, do you know the name of the flowers? No, thank you. Thank you, Brenda. That one I was able to locate within my brain. The white one I cannot. Tanta, what is the flowers that's up there? Hold on. If someone can chat it in, that would be helpful to me. I have a feeling my aunt will tell us in a second. They're beautiful. Hydrangeas, right?
Hydrangeas, that's it.
Similar to sunflower. They are beautiful. So when Brian jumps on, be careful, Lee, you're driving. Oh, jeez. Okay, we are going to continue with lighting of the Shabbat candles. Maybe actually if Josh and Seren would come up and light it, that would be awesome to have you guys on the bima. Two of our newest congregants, but they come every Shabbat, so you wouldn't be able to tell they're new. So I'm going to ask everyone in their prayer books to turn to page 2 as we light the candles together. Dad gets it. Unless you need a Toshir one. Do you need one of those clicker guys? Okay. There we go. And Cantor will lead us in the blessing once you light it.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Thank you, guys. I'll take that. Little trash is a rabbi. I'll take that. Right there. We are going to continue now that we have welcome to Shabbat to welcome one another. So what I love is I think everyone in here knows each other, but know each other a little bit better. Nobody here tonight is new. It's great, but please introduce yourselves to one another and give each other something that you're happy about. Shabbat Shalom to Cecile and Lilu, to Lee, and I don't know who's driving with you, maybe Reagan, to Marissa, to Tanta, to my parents and my grandma. I think that is Ari, and to the Schulmans, who I think will probably surprise visit us soon when they get out of their car. It is Rebecca's birthday tomorrow. I don't know that she'll know I remembered that. And we have lots of people in the sanctuary. It is good to be together. So I'm going to invite everyone now to turn in their prayer books. Actually, I don't have pages for this. So Oziv Zimra'ya, the light brings on gladness to the Jewish people. We'll sing that together, followed by Shalom Aleichem, before we get to Lechadodi.
Oziv וזמרת ים, ויהי לי לישועה. עוזי וזמרת ים, ויהי לי לישועה. עוזי וזמרת ים, ויהי לי לישועה. עוזי וזמרת ים, ויהי לי לישועה. One more time. עוזי וזמרת ים, ויהי לי לישועה. עוזי וזמרת ים, ויהי לי לישועה.
We join on page 24. I found it. Shalom Aleichem.
שלום עליכם, מלאכי השרת, מלאכי עליון. מי מלך מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. בואכם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. מי מלך מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ברכוני לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. מי מלך מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. צדק ושלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. מי מלך מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Page 20.
לך דודי, לקבוע כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקבוע כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ותפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי, נקבע כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, נקבע כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה. מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי, לקבוע כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקבוע כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי,
Page 21.
כי באורך קומי אורי. אורי אורי שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך אמלה. לך דודי, נקבע כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, נקבע כלה, בני Shabbat nikabela.
Please rise. Verse 9.
בואי ושלום עטרת בלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך ימי הסגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי לקטלה. Shabbat nikabela, lechadodi likakala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela.
You may be seated. I want to extend a Shabbat Shalom to Ben Cuny, who joined us, it looks like, from the sanctuary, but I don't see him in here. And to Linda Searles, also to Andrea Chacon, who is here, and Ruth. I want to wish you and Frank a Shabbat Shalom, because Frank brought you your special hat, and I don't think we would have recognized you without your hat. So it is good to see both you and Frank this Shabbat. We are going to continue with joining in the words of Baruch Hu in a moment. I invite you to turn to page 27. At the bottom, we're going to join in English. Entrances to holiness are everywhere. The possibility of ascent is all the time. Even at unlikely times and through unlikely places, there is no place on earth without the presence. And as Jose graces us with his presence, I want you to notice that the P is capitalized for presence. So I'm going to ask someone in our B'nai Mitzvah program, why is it capitalized? Yes, Maya. No? Come on, guys. Proper nouns. Haley, you're too old. Dime? What? Guys. If it's, yes, thank you, Renek. The male of our class. And yes, Renek, and whose name would Presence be? I don't know Patrick Presence. I'm assuming maybe I should, and look at Mom's face. She's like, oh my God, Renek. But I've already clapped off Renek. He saw me. Who do you think it is, guys? Presence. God. It's one of the 72 names of God. So in this sense, presence here, they're saying to us, God is showing up as presence, and that there is no way to not experience God if we are available for that experience, okay? So I'm going to learn who Patrick Presence is during the silent meditation. I'm sure I'll need to Google that. And we are going to continue now with the words of the Baruch Hu, page 28. Please rise. Do you know who that is?
Patrick. La la ya la 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 ya la la ya 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 la 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 ya la 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 ya 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 la 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 Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Yai 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 yai yai
You may be seated. I see on screen that Brian Leslie joined us. And Brian, you missed my compliment of your stunning flowers up here. They smell good and they are beautiful, so thank you for those. We are going to continue now with the singing of Ahavat Olam on page 32.
Ahavat Olam
No problem.
Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadata, otanu limadata. Akein Adonai Eloheinu b'shmochenu, uvkumenu nasiach bekuchecha, ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגה יומם ולילה, נגה יומם ולילה. אהבתך אל תסיר ממילא לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל, אוהב עמו ישראל.
So if you are joining us on Zoom land and you are getting very personalized messages, Ezra is taking over the keyboard. So especially to our family, if you are getting messages, turn on your chat. I was thinking about something. I was approached by a congregant who I value their opinion immensely. And what they shared with me is that their custom is that there's no speaking between the Shema and the Ve'ahavta. And that for them, it creates a feeling of connectedness, and it's a moment of awe, and that when we say, you may be seated if you wish, or we turn to the next page, that it actually breaks their concentration. What I explained back was, if there's someone visiting us who doesn't know what page we're on, doesn't follow Hebrew, that it also I need to speak to them as well, literally. But what I feel like is that maybe sometimes I will say, please be seated if it's your custom, and we continue with the Ve'ahavta on the next page, and sometimes I won't. So I appreciate when people tell me the moments that bring them connectedness and the moments that separate them from it. So this evening, in a moment, we will rise for the Shema, and I will not tell you, you may be seated if it's your custom, although you may. And I will not tell you, but the Ve'ahavta is on the following page. Okay? And so if there's someone next to you that seems confused because they may not know what page we're on, I would ask that you help them out, understanding that we need to respond to how each other prays, okay? So there comes the birthday girl tomorrow. I'm sure she's so embarrassed that I just called her out, Rebecca, but welcome. So we are going to now start on page 34, and when I stop talking again, we'll be done with page Ve'ahavta 36, okay? So I invite you to please rise as we join in these words of the Shema, and then they will be followed by the Ve'ahavta.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed, Ve'ahavta et Adonai בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בעם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי
והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. You may be seated. So did that feel different to anyone? It felt better? Interesting. Much better. So for some people, I love that I love that a few of you gave your opinion. The Shema and the Ve'ahavta are actually the same prayer, and they are artificially divided. When you go to a mezuzah or you go in the actual Torah, the two are together. It is one prayer of the Shema. In fact, what we do on Saturday morning when we do the blessing for the Talit, that's also part of that prayer. And there's another paragraph also part of the Shema. It's called Shema Uvrotecha, the Shema and her blessings. It's a feminine word, Shema. And so it's interesting because tonight we were allowing ourselves to do it as one prayer, although we're still omitting 2 additional prayers in this one. I found it different because I teach all of us, as I teach myself, not to memorize prayers, right? I tell you guys all the time, have a prayer book in front of you. It doesn't mean you're any closer to God or any more Jewish to have the prayers memorized. Everyone is supposed to be following in the prayer book because we might notice something different each time. We're different, the prayer's different. And I found that because I closed my eyes for the Shema, I didn't open them again for the Ve'ahavta, right? And so for me, I felt like I was on autopilot a little bit. So it's interesting as we try prayer in different ways. I encourage you to do whatever feels good and whatever feels maybe weird, and try it out and try to figure out what's your prayer practice. So I love that that was brought to my attention, and I love that we all tried it tonight. We are going to continue now on page 40 with the singing of Mi Chamocha.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדע בקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדע בקודש. נורא תהילות עושה פלא, נורא תהילות עושה ראו בניך, אוקיי הים לפני משה, זה אלי ענו ויאמרו, זה אלי ענו ויאמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. Everybody, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדע בקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדע בקודש.
So now that Sukkot is over, it seems like it was here for a while. Now that Sukkot is over, we still keep a ta'am, a taste of Sukkah inside of ourselves with a prayer each week. We arrive at Hashkivenu, which asks God to remind us of our Sukkot Shalom, of our overarching safety, a canopy or an arm of safety that God gives us. And so we join in the prayer, Hashkivenu, let there be love. And this prayer literally is taking this shelter of peace and asking us not only to feel God's shelter of peace over us, but asking us to create for each other as well. Hashkivenu.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Hashkivenu Leshalom V'ha'amidenu Shomreinu L'chaim Ufros Aleinu Sukkot Shlomecha Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'shalom L'shalom Let there be love and understanding among us.
Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
Hashkivenu
Adonai
Eloheinu
Shalom. In a moment, we will turn to page 46 for the Amidah. Not only have I screwed with your head about where we stand and where we turn for that prayer, but now that Simchat Torah or Shmini Atzeret is behind us, we are praying for rain. So the words of the Amidah change in the middle. We were praying for dew, which I don't think we get much dew in Miami. We get torrential downpour. But in an agrarian society in Israel where they counted so much and still do on agriculture, rain was life. Crops are life. And so their prayers mimicked what they really needed in their lives for sustenance, which is rain. And so I'll ask you not to go on autopilot during the Amidah. I invite you to please rise now. East is this way. Obviously, the Ark is this way, page 46.
Adonai Sifatai Tiftach Ufi Yagi Tehilatecha Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor V'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim Ve'koneh HaKol Ve'zocher Chastei Avot Ve'imahot U'mevi Geula Livnei B'neihem L'ma'an Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechayeh HaKol Atah Le'Hoshia Mashiv HaRuach U'Morid HaGashem Mechalkel Chaim B'Chesed Mechayeh HaKol B'Rachamim Rabim Somech Noflim B'Rofech Oholim Umatir Asurim Umekayem Emunato Lishenei Afar Michamocha Ba'al Gevurot Umidom Melach Melech Memit Umechayeh Umatzmiach Yeshua V'ne'emanat al hachayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai Mechayeh HaKol. Page 52. Atah kadosh Shimcha kadosh
Ukdoshim b'chol yom yehalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. You may be seated. On page 56, we have the words of Ritzeh, which asks God to see our prayers with the intentions that we send them with. I was having a conversation with one of our conversion candidates this week who said, you know, I never believed in that God that we prayed to like for ponies. I never believed in that God that was almost like a Santa Claus. Like if that God was really there, they would bring what I wanted. She said, but it wasn't until now, and this woman is in her 30s, that I understood that maybe the gifts that I was asking for was a different conversation altogether. And maybe I should have been thanking instead of asking. And I was thinking about how so many of us, and I know this is true for me, never was taught between Sunday school and going to rabbinical school that your relationship with God can change. I was pretty clear I did not believe in God on a cloud. And I was pretty sure that that wasn't, in my head, some personified white guy with a big beard in Tevas. But I never got to mature that understanding. So I just thought, well, maybe I don't believe in God. And then I started to realize as a rabbi, well, you know, there's a lot of different ways to look at God. And that's maybe the easiest way for parents or Sunday school teachers or rabbis to explain an understanding of God, but I think it does a disservice to Jewish adults to not ever engage in that conversation again. So I'm going to encourage you, not right now, but at some point, whether you're bold enough to ask someone else or share your opinion with someone else about God, to just look inside and say, you know what, I don't know what God is. I don't know that any of us know, but this is what I would need God to be for me right now. And that may change in a week or 10 years. It may have changed prior to having kids or before you lost a partner. The idea is, in Judaism, we don't have to have one understanding that we share, and we don't have to have one understanding that stays with us our whole life. The name Israel, the name Jacob, which was changed to Israel, means God wrestler. It is such an unbelievable freedom, I think, that we have as Jews and people who love Jews, that we are told to not just accept what someone else says this relationship or this understanding of God is, but that we are told to constantly be questioning what we need, who is or what is bigger than us. And so I hope if no one ever said it to you prior to tonight, I don't know that that God on a cloud exists, but if that doesn't serve you, then start to think of what might. Because I think that we cut ourselves off from a relationship with something larger than ourselves when we realize that first model we came up with in kindergarten, first, second grade, doesn't actually serve us as adults. So to our teens in here, we have this conversation. You do have a rabbi who says that is not who God has to be for you. So I would say maybe some of your teens should talk to the parents about what the many options are. And the fact is that it's a countless number of options. For some, God might just be going out to nature, or the connection between human beings, or the feeling we have when we hear music. God might not be God to you. When I say God, it might trigger some of you, right? It may be, I'm spiritual but not religious. Whatever words you use, whatever concepts you love and you hate, try to figure out what works for you. Because it is not assumed you have God in Judaism, but it sure does help to not feel alone in the world. So whether that's God or your connections with one another, I encourage all of us to look around ourselves and be available to whatever comes into us. Because even if God is a white man with a beard and Tevas on the cloud, I never got the pony or the trampoline from Sam's Club that I always wanted. I never got it. But I sure was glad when some of the things I never asked for I did get. And I knew that that was because of my relationship with something larger than myself. So we take some time on page 56 to sing the words of Ritzeh, which says, God, I hope you understand why I'm speaking to you like this. It is out of love and gratitude.
Ritzeh Adonai Eloheinu Be'amcha Yisrael Ritzeh Adonai Eloheinu Utfilatam bi'ahava tekabel. Can you hear our prayers as we sing your praise and glory, and we're gracious unto you? Take our souls in flight, on your wings they are soaring. Ritzeh Adonai Eloheinu. Ritzeh Adonai Eloheinu Ve'amcha Yisrael. Ritzeh Adonai Eloheinu ותפילתם באהבה תקבל, ותפילתם באהבה תקבל.
We have a lot to be grateful for. Whether we acknowledge it or not, it's there for the taking. So if there is anything that you are thinking of that you're grateful for, if you're at home, enter it into the chat so we can share it in the sanctuary. And if there's anything in the sanctuary that you are grateful for and you want to share it, doesn't make it more holy or get to God quicker, but you want to share it with each other, then I would ask you to do so. Does anyone have anything? Yes, Lee. Yes. Thank you. And Lee, I'm going to repeat it so that everyone at home hears that Lee feels he has a home here and that he finds inspiration and comfort for being here. And I can tell you, every time I see you driving on the screen, I tell you to be careful whether you can hear it or not. And when I see you arrive here, it really does feel like you're coming home. Like your empty seats, without you guys here, we would wonder where you were. And so I think that's one of the things about our synagogue. People do call when you're missing, right? It is nice that people know each other's names. Yeah, thank you, Jim. Thank God. Thank God. So, Jim, you are not alone in thanking God and everything else that Cantor Nelson is back and feeling good. And then to your point, Jim and I believe, were at every, we're at every single holiday, festival, Yizkor, every holiday service we had a lot, and it was a really nice time, very intimate. Even with big turnouts, it was very intimate, so it was great to have you, and he said that because of his work schedule and his personal schedule, he can be here. And Jose, I think your work schedule is allowing you to be at Shabbat a lot more often, and I love that. So it's great to have you too. Yes, Haley? So Haley said she's grateful for the temple and something to have all your friends, but what was the sentence in the middle? I love that. Haley said to grow up in a temple. Parent win, right? Congregation win. Yes, Renz. So Rennick said he loves that the temple is getting better and being more open. Absolutely, Rennick. Yeah, Gabby. You're grateful for Haley Newman? That's pretty awesome. Oh, God, now you got to go through the whole list there, Gabby. That's what happens when you do a seating chart. Good job. You're grateful for your friends. I'm so glad. Really? Yes, Reagan. Grateful for your dad. I hope you keep that streak going forever, that you are grateful for your dad. So Grandma Morrison wrote, I'm grateful that we're celebrating Shabbat in good health and able to be together with our TI members, and I'm grateful for that also. And then my dad texted in, because he knows I really wanted the trampoline, and he said, oh, Amy, Hanukkah's coming up, get surprised. So I know, Dad, I'm not getting a trampoline. Ruth Greenfield said she's grateful to know when the next breath is coming. Amen. Amen. And sometimes we don't know that, and we are grateful for each breath. And Ruth, I'm glad to see you sitting up and being with us for sure. Anyone else have moments of gratitude? Rennick, you wrecked me up here. I'm also glad that the temple's getting better. Thank you for saying that. Cantor, anything you want to share?
I'm just grateful that I'm recovering.
Thank God. Grateful that Cantor is recovering. There is that brain fog that, yes, that I think really affects people after this. So I hope that goes away and that remnant cough goes away as well. I think that I'm going to share a moment of gratitude. I am grateful. You have one? Or you wanted to? Okay. I am grateful that I'm grateful that this morning for Rock and Roll Day, I, for the first time in my life, got to paint someone's nails. I've never done that, and Ezra wanted black nails like Ethan, which is also a good important reason we grow up at Temple. And he couldn't wait to come to show all the teens what he looked like and what he was so proud of. And I think that is exactly what we're doing here. I wish Ethan was here to hear that was really the goal today, to be like Ethan. So I hope that all of us have some goals and some people that we look up to, and I hope that we can tell those people that we look up to them, similar to the teens telling each other. You know, I think that we miss that opportunity a lot. And so I hope that whether it's this week and whether the person's alive or not, that you kind of put out into the world, you know what, that music teacher was a huge deal in my life, or that next door neighbor, or that coach, or that cantor. You know, I think it's never too late to reach out to people and say that they made a difference in your life. And I think some of the most incredible moments that we have is when someone says that to us. So imagine the lives you can change by sharing that information with other people. So we are going to take a few moments for silent meditation. We are going to join together in the words of Shalom Rav following silent meditation, which is our prayer for peace. So we take some time to pray quietly.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael, Amcha, Amcha, Tasim le'olam, Tasim le'olam, Ki ata hu melech Adon lechol hashalom, V'tov b'yimecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael, בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Bring peace to your people, Israel. Bring peace to your people, Israel. For you are the one, Adon lechol hashalom. V'tov b'yinecha, bless your people, Yisrael, every moment, every day, b'shlomecha. Baruch atah Adonai, bless your people, Israel, with peace, b'shalom.
So here we are again. Oh my God, my dad just sent me a screenshot of the exact trampoline I always wanted at Sam's Club. You could tell where my sense of humor comes from. The temple is so much better, Rennick. I kind of can't get over that comment. So we are back at the beginning of reading of the Torah, of Bereshit, of Genesis, and all I can think about, and I said it in my message this morning, I don't know if anyone listens to those. I know some people listen to them, but I don't know that I ever listened to them again. I said there's a quote from a 1993 song, and it says, every beginning's another beginning's end. Every new beginning is another beginning's end. And I was like, oh yeah, you know, it's totally from 93. Meanwhile, it's like Sartre, and it's totally from like 1693, but, which is not accurate. But it is something that I've been thinking about a lot. This Torah portion is, I think, one of the ones we go over and over and over and over again in Sunday school as kids. I did it. You know, I felt like we never got out of the book of Genesis. We just kept going through this, then the story of Noah, then the story of the Tower of Babel, then came holidays and Christmas break, and then it was like Anne Frank for like 10 weeks, again and again and again. And then it was time again to start with Adam and Eve, right? I don't know if anyone else had an education like that, but that was clearly in between sneaking to Burger King and back for my parents to pick me up. That was what we did in Sunday school. And yet, I don't think I ever realized just A, how long this Torah portion is, B, that there are two creation stories in it that contradict each other, C, that there's more in it than the creation story. I don't know, where are you going? The more than the creation story in it. Keep going then, keep going. And that there was so much that happens after Adam and Eve and after the days of creation. I don't know how many of you have read past, like if we could say page, but like page 6 of Bereshit. There is a lot more going on. And I was thinking there is always a lot more going on than meets the eye. And that's not just in the Torah, although we study Torah for that reason, to let things that are hidden come and be revealed to us. But I have been thinking about something on this bima and trying to figure out at what point I was going to out it to you. And tonight feels like a good night, because why not? Behind me on the bima are 2 things that are fake, that are not real. And I was given information. You guys are not going to want to talk during this. Guys, put your phone down, because you're going to want to hear it. I don't care that your phone's on. Listen, you're going to love this. 2 things are fake behind me. It's okay, Anat. Oh, no, I got them all. I will handle right now. 2 things are fake. What do you think is fake behind me? This is not a trick question. Morrison. I think you know, so I don't want you to out it. Yeah. What do you think is fake about them? Oh, like it's not on fire. I see what you mean. Right, it's not on fire. If it was on fire, if it was real fire, it would burn the sanctuary down. That is true. That is not. And the flag he just thinks is fake. The Israeli flag. I don't know what commentary we can add to that. I would have looked over here maybe and made some commentary, but I will keep it to myself. What else? That is not the case. But what do you think is fake, Maya? D-mate 3 what? Oh, okay, so that's a good wrong answer, but it's a good answer. This is a menorah, not a Chanukiah. This is what was in the Mishkan, in the tabernacle. A Hanukkah, which we use for Hanukkah, is a type of menorah. Like an adhesive bandage, which I've never called a Band-Aid, is the category, and a Band-Aid is a brand, just like a Hanukkah is a type of menorah. Yes, Jim? Okay, so Jim is saying the light in the Ner Tamid, yes, that is super fake. Okay, I did not know until confirmation. I was 15 years old, and it went out at my service. The rabbi said, Amy, it's a light switch. Like he took me back there and like took away that mystical. Yes, correct, that is not real, but that is not where I am. You guys are being way too religious for me right now, but making a lot of sense. Ren, you have an answer? No, just fixing your pretty hair. Okay, I'm gonna show you. Excuse me, Cantor. Nope, this right here, and this right here. How do I know that those are fake? Did anyone know that those are fake? Maya, you knew or you're asking? Guessing. Okay. Yes, Alex, you knew that? Okay. These are fake cement walls, and if you look closely, I mean, this flag is really up in its business, but it is fake cement. These are 2 doors. And in the time of Rabbi Neret, you can see this in old pictures, the rabbi and cantor would enter the sanctuary with a lot of pomp and circumstance, with a lot of, vitriol, with a lot of music and excitement. They would come in from the hallways and enter directly onto the bima on either side. Over time, that really did not become the custom, and it really was, let's take rabbis off their pedestals, literally, and let's humanize this process. And so they painted fake cement in these 2 places. And so if you were to tap where I just knocked, you could hear it was hollow, maybe. If you tap next to it, it is cement. It is an outside, I don't know if it's an outside wall, Alan, I see you sitting there, I have no idea. It's just harder, it makes a different echo. So I was thinking, when I first learned this, I went out in the hall, and those doorways are still there. You guys can do this when you sneak to go to the bathroom next time. You'll see that there are doorways there, and that these bima spots are not as we thought, possibly. So those are the 2 fake things that I was going to say. Those are fake walls right there, and behind them are walkways. But do you know what's so incredible about this sanctuary? There's other really random hiding things in here. If you were to go upstairs, and we did this, Laura, remember when you guys blew the shofar? Upstairs are 4 rooms, one of which I wanted to make your youth lounge. I think it's incredible up there. There is still today an organ that sits up there, and it's broken, but like broken beyond repair, and like hundreds of thousands of dollars to remove it. So they keep it up there. And behind there are all these rooms. That is not what that looks like to me. When I look up at this ark, I think it's stunning. I see it in all the confirmation pictures. I would not know that we could have a whole existence up there, right? Something else. Cantor's side has a little trap door, and within it is an old-timey telephone, but not old-timey like 1980, but like before my time. There is some phone situation in here with push buttons, okay? This cord looks like it even has tetanus. It's just old. So I, make the joke sometimes, well, who does that call? So who do you think that calls? So Jonathan said God is what I'm assuming, unless you meant, who do you think that calls? Yeah. Police. No, but that would be extremely smart and advanced thinking. Morrison. Congregants, that would be smart. Let's see, Maya. Oh, like it's an outgoing telephone? Rennick? God, that's what Jonathan said. Yes, Haley? Similar, no. Lee? Executive director, that would be smart. It is not. Jim? Okay, Alex? Tell me. So it calls in Maria Ayerbe's office. So that when these rabbis who really were about performance wanted the lights to be dimmed, wanted the different theatrics to happen, they would call back in the sound booth. Hi, Maria. Scary. Yes. So that's another thing that isn't as it seems. There's a lot of things that aren't as fun to learn about, that aren't as they seem. Let me tell you, middle school is not as it seems. For any of us who are past middle school, would you ever go back? Wow, I'm surprised that you say yes, actually knowing your middle school. I mean, not where you went, but middle school is one of those times where it's not what I thought it would be. Being in 5th grade, you are the head of the school. And then you're in 6th grade, and you are so much not that anymore. And your body starts being crazy, everything, friends start being crazy, they're not nice, you start changing everything. It's not what it seems. How about anyone who's been in a relationship that is over, whether they've lost the partner or they've broken up? Sometimes you might think, you know what, I wanted my freedom. Maybe not in those words, especially if someone passes, but it's not as it seems sometimes. Or I wanted to own a home. Before everything went up with COVID prices, I was so excited to buy a home. Cecile and I looked everywhere for houses. And then it was like, you know what, I don't want to deal, we couldn't get one anyway, but I don't want to deal with mowing my lawn. I don't want to deal with some of these things that you don't have to deal with. Things are not as they seem. You know what, all these examples, though, are just on the surface, except for the cool phone one. In Parshat Bereshit, in this first Torah portion, it is so much not what it seems, at least how I was taught, that God created day 1 and it was good. God created day 2 and it was good. 3, 4, 5, and 6, good, good, good. And 7, Shabbat. God rested. I think it takes us a long time to realize that sometimes, especially in this book of Genesis, maybe we're talking about metaphors. And maybe we're talking about stories and not necessarily facts. Or maybe as we count to 7, we're not actually counting days, but millennia. And maybe we're in the 7th millennia or the 6th. What if we're in the 6th day of creation still when humanity's being created? Do you ever even think about that? A kid that I know was born this morning. A kid was born to people that I know this morning. Well, that's still the 6th day of creation, how I understand it. That's when men and women were born. And some people say, yeah, maybe we'd be at a time of peace if we were in the 7th day, right? Shabbat is the 7th day, when the lion lays with the lamb, when everyone's at peace with one another. Maybe we're not even yet in the 7th day yet. Things may not be what they seem. And I can tell you the Torah is one of the best books to prove that, I think. When I study, and this is where I'll end because I won't stop if I don't. When I study with people choosing Judaism, very often they'll say, Rabbi, I tried to read the book, the Torah, from the beginning to the end. I started at the beginning of Genesis and I tried to read it through the end of Deuteronomy, but it made no sense to me. It was redundant. There was this begot that one. It just kept going. And it always strikes me so interesting because we, as a people, do not read it as a textbook. Do not read it like that. We read the stories. We talk about whether we think it's real or not. We wrestle with it. We find additional meanings. We look at different levels of meanings. Peshat is the main level. Sod is the secretive level. There's all of this that goes into it. And I think it's one of God's incredible and miraculous ways to say things are not always as they seem. Whoever needed to hear this message tonight, listen again. Things are not always as they seem. That may not make sense to you right now. I think there's places in me it does not make sense yet. But I think that even if you use these fake walls in your sanctuary, in our sanctuary, as a reminder that things are not always... How many of you ever questioned that there were fake walls up here? Who even thought, right? The things that we don't know are endless. We do not know what we don't know, so keep your mind and your eyes and your experience open and curious, because the things that we learn when we aren't looking, the things that are hidden when our eyes are closed, that's all for us to do the taking. I hope this Shabbat, something is not what it seems, and what you find is so much better, because I think there is a lot of really great that we are not uncovering because we are not looking for it. Shabbat Shalom. Mm-hmm.
Creator of all things, ruler of Israel, we are your people and you are our God. Teach us to follow, obey your commandments. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Your glorious world abounds in the heavens. Your majesty rules all over the earth. We are your teachers and you're our creator. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. I sing unto God, to Adonai I sing praise, and from moment to moment beyond. I sing hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. I sing hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Creator of all things, ruler of Israel, we are your people and you are our God. Teach us to follow, obey your commandments. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
We think now of so many in our lives and in this room, ourselves included, that need healing. I think if we take even 1 minute, we can think of more and more and more people. Very often, I stay silent at Misha Beirach. I think that my thoughts get to God just as quickly as someone else's words, and yet people often will say, pray for me, whether they're talking to me or each of us. One of the best things, I think, is when we can give it back to them and say, we will pray with you. But there's no need to pray for someone. So I hope that we are thinking of those people and that we'll tell them that we're praying with them. And so if there are names of people who you are thinking of for Misha Berach, if you're at home, I ask you to enter them into the chat. And if there's any names in the sanctuary, if you can say them out loud. Lee? Thank you. Thank you. Laura, Jesse, Haley, Maya, Mika, thank you. Christine? Thank you. Jenny? Anat? Sarah? Lior? Robin? Thank you. Alan, Rebecca? John, Brenda? Elisa? Jim? Thank you. Jose? Thank you. Paula? Thank you. Susan, anyone for Misha Berach? No. Yes, Josh, Sharon? Thank you. Alex, Ezra, anyone for healing? Anyone for healing? Yeah? Nanny, thank you. And Cantor, your name was said. Yes, Gabs? Okay. I hope that he feels better. And we think also of the Minkoff family this Shabbat and also the Bondroff family. And so we join together in the words of Misha Berach, page 253. We join in these words. Misha Berach, no. Avotenu, Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah, Yivarech, Verapet HaCholim. I invite all of us to please rise, if you are able, page 282, the words of Aleinu L'Shabeach.
Aleinu L'Shabeach Adon HaKol, Latet Gedula Leotzer Bereshit, Shelo Asanu Kigoyei Ha'aratzot, Velo Samanu Kimishmechot Ha'adama, Shelo Sam Chelkeinu Kahem, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ ומושב יקרו בשמיים ושכינתו זו בגבי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אלוקינו אפס זולתו, כך כתוב בתורתו, ידעת היום והשבות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת, אין עוד ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. You may be seated.
As we think about those who are no longer physically with us, but who our kids may be named after, who our recipes may be on our table, who their perfume, I think of this all the time, the perfume, when you smell it, brings their memory to life. Whatever it is in each of us that brings those who are no longer physically with us still together with them, I invite you to think of that right now. And if there's a name that you'd like to share, if you're at home, I invite you to put it into the chat. I'm going to read the names of our congregation and then invite you to share those names that you're thinking of. Most recently, we think of Jeffrey Minkoff, Aaron Ben Yosef, and Ron Bondroff, Reuven Ben Label. Observing the anniversary of their death, we think of the following people: Joyce Adler, Charles Bennett, Sidney I. Birnbaum, Lee Bernstein, Diana Bronston, Estelle C. Cromer, Leo E. Elliott, Herbert U. Feibelman, Stanley Freed, Leo Galvin, Lillian White Goldhoff, David Golding, Jacob Goldstein, Shirley Gorfine, William Paul Gottlieb, Mitzi Greenhouse, Ida Catherine Harrison, Mildred Horowitz, Eric Hunter, June Jacobs, Isaac Loeb Kaminsky, Harry Canner, Leah Cohn, George H. Cohn, Jean Landsberg, Samuel H. Lachelle, Ida E. Levinson, Samuel Lipton, Anna Lisker, Helen J. London, Gret Metzger, Harry Nevins, Sidney L. Olson, Selma Portnoy, Louis S. Rapport, Morris Rothman, Arnold P. Rosen, Jack A. Rudolph, Harry Aaron Russin, Phyllis Samet, Anna Schwab, H. Denny Schweiger, Louis I. Serbin, Lee Site Shapiro, Milton Siegel, Lillian Silverman, Morris Weinstein, Morris B. Winston, and Sarah Zwiebel. If I mispronounced your loved one's name and/or you have someone else who you'd like to honor their memory of, I invite you to say so in the congregation as my hand passes where you are. Cantor? Thank you. Robin, Rebecca Allen, Brenda, John, Elisa, Jim. Thank you. Jose, Paula, Susan, Josh. Any names for Kaddish, guys? I just want to remind everyone before they say a name, this is not for animals. Okay, but we do think of them. Okay, and we honor their memory as well. So I invite the congregation to please rise as we join on page 200 and, I'm sorry, why can't I remember? 294 for the words of Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, b'alma divrach cherutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayachon uvyomachon uvchaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabba mivaroch leolam olmeo maya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpoar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal. Shemei dekudesha b'rechu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Zichronam levracha, may their memories forever be a blessing and a lesson for how we live our lives, and let us say amen. I invite you to remain standing and to come to the middle of the room so we can join in Kiddush and Motzi tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. I hope you will join the cantor and myself for services, and again at 11:30 for Torah study. This week we have a board meeting open to all on Tuesday evening, and there is no Tifty this week, although there will be a Tifty event next week with a movie on the 30th. So I hope that we all will come together for that. Pat and Maria, thank you both, and Alex, thank you. And Cantor, I'm going to give you Kiddush cup as we come together and join in these words. We're just going to start with the Kiddush.
Sounds good. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit. That's not me. Ki hu yom tehillah lemikra'ei kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim.
One more touch your hands.
Kivanu v'charta v'otanu kidashta mikol ha'arim v'shabbat kodshecha ve'ahava uvratzon hilchatanu. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Oi, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Not yet. Mekadesh HaShabbat. Here. Mekadesh HaShabbat. Mekadesh HaShabbat. Mekadesh HaShabbat. Mekadesh HaShabbat. Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen. L'chaim. Now, Gabby. Not yet. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. B'te'avon. We join together in singing Osei Shalom as Gabby passes the challah, and we'll get it last. We join. Oh, it's the good one, guys. It's fast clapping. Osei Shalom. Imromav. Look at Osei Shalom. It's got wax. Imromav. Uyaseh, uyaseh, uyaseh shalom. Uyaseh, uyaseh, uyaseh shalom. Uyaseh, uyaseh, uyaseh shalom. Aleinu. You guys ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. May the one who brings peace bring peace down, bring peace down. Working. May the one who brings peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who brings peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who brings peace bring down, bring peace down. Oh, say shalom. Oh, say shalom. Uyaseh, uyaseh, uyaseh shalom. Uyaseh, uyaseh, uyaseh shalom. Uyaseh, uyaseh, uyaseh shalom. Aleinu. Good Shabbos. Good Shabbos. I think it's over. Shabbat.